Hey you, I want to ask you something before we get started. What if the thing that is costing your child the most right now has absolute nothing to do with their reading level or their math scores? Because I want to talk about something today that does not get nearly enough attention in the conversation around children who are struggling at school. It's not about the reading scores or the spelling tests or the report language that tells you your child is working below expectation or not yet at the level they should be for their age. I want to talk about what is happening to your children on the inside while all of that is going on around them. Because in my experience, that's the part that costs the most. And it's always the part that waits the longest to be addressed. Why do parents wait? I meet a lot of parents who tell me they've been watching their child struggle for a while now, a year, 2 years, sometimes 5 or 6 years. And when I ask them why they waited, the answers are nearly always the same version of the same few things. Oh, we thought they would catch up. The school said just to give it some more time. We tried tutoring and it helped a little, so we just kept going. We didn't know there was another option. We couldn't afford to do anything about it yet. What I want to say is I understand every single one of those reasons. I really honestly do. However, here is what I also know from sitting across from those children or those people week after week. Every single one of those years has a cost that nobody warned those parents about. What is actually happening while they wait? When a picture thinker spends year after year in a system that does not work for the way their brain processes the world, something starts to happen that has nothing to do with their learning, their reading, writing, spelling, or maths. What does happen is they start to build a story about themselves. I'm slow. Oh, I'm really stupid. I'm so different to everyone else, and it's not a good way. Everyone else finds this easy, and I can't do it no matter how hard I try. I had a client, an adult woman, who told me she'd been saying to herself for 60 years that she was stupid and different to others, that she was in fact dumb. She thought she must be dumb. 60 years. She cried in our very first session together when she realised that what she had been telling herself the whole time, her whole life, was simply not true. It was never ever true. It was just that nobody had ever shown her how her brain actually worked. She was actually completely normal. No one had ever told her that she was normal. No one had told her that her strength was thinking in pictures rather than words. The children I work with are carrying that same story, and some have been carrying it since they were 5 or 6 years old. By the time their parents bring them to me, many have stopped putting their hand up in class. They avoid reading out aloud. They rush through written work so nobody can see how hard it is, or they get really good at copying their friends. They tell their people school is fine because they have learnt that saying anything otherwise doesn't change anything. One parent told me her son said to her, I feel like I'm going to fail this year and I know next year is just going to be harder. He was 10 years old. Another child, when I asked him what he was proud of at school, he looked at me and said, nothing. Now that's not a reading problem. That's a child who has spent years being asked to learn in a way that doesn't match how his brain works. And it's a child who has drawn the only conclusion that is available to him. His conclusion, that the problem must be him. Why do the usual solutions not stop the clock? I want to be really clear here, because I'm not having a go at teachers or tutors or any other people who have tried to help these people or children. Most of you are doing your absolute best, and I know you're working with what you have. However, here's the thing. If a child is a pictorial thinker, a visual spatial learner whose brain processes the world in 3 dimensions and pictures rather than sounds and symbols, then more repetition of the same things they are already finding hard is not going to fix it. More worksheets are not going to fix it. Another computer program is not going to fix it, because none of these things address the actual mismatch. They are all asking the brain to do something that it's not built to do in the way it is being asked to do it. And the child keeps trying and keeps falling short and keeps adding another layer to that story that they are building about themselves. So the clock keeps running and the cost keeps growing. What becomes possible when you address the actual mismatch? When I work with a child, the very first thing I want them to understand is that their brain is not the problem, that they are not the problem. I want them to understand that their brain is extraordinary. It's creative and spatial and intuitive and capable of things that a purely linear thinker simply cannot do. However, it just needs to be worked with in the right way. And when that happens, when a child finally has the tools that match the way their brain actually works, then so much changes. Not slowly, not with painful incremental progress. It changes quickly, visibly, in ways that the child notices, that the parents notice, and that I honestly never get tired of seeing. I worked with a 10-year-old girl whose reading comprehension increased by 17.4 points in 9 months. The national average increase for that same period is 8.2. Her vocabulary score increased by 18 points against a national average of 8.5. Her mother told me that there was more progress in those 9 months than in the previous 5 years at school. Another child told me after our week together that she felt like she was going to skyrocket in her learning. What a wonderful thing. These aren't exceptional cases. This is what becomes possible when you stop asking a pictorial thinker to learn like everyone else and start giving them the tools that actually work with with the way their brain processes the world. What is 1 more year actually going to cost? Well, I want to come back to where we started, because if your child is struggling right now and you are thinking about whether to act or whether to wait a little bit longer, I want you to really sit with this question. What is 1 more year going to cost? Not on money. I'm not talking anything about money. I'm talking about 1 more year of your child sitting in a classroom feeling like everyone else finds this easy. One more year of that story getting a little bit more set in stone. One more year of their confidence quietly slipping away or chipping away in ways that they are not even able to tell you about yet. The parents I speak with who waited longer than they wished they had say the same thing every single time. I wish I'd done this sooner. And the parents who acted, even when it was hard to find the money, even when the timing was not perfect, they say something else entirely. They say they watched their child come back to being themselves. Every single time they tell me that their child is happier and their confidence has come back. And honestly, I just never get tired of hearing that. That is just so exciting to hear. If any of what I have said today sounds familiar, if you recognise your child in what I have been describing, I would really love to have a conversation with you. I don't want to sell you anything. I don't want to have a pushy conversation. I just want to have an honest talk about what is going on for your child and whether what I do could help. I'm a specialist specifically trained in a method that works with the way a picture thinker's brain actually processes the world. There are not many people in New Zealand doing what I do and in the way that I do it. And if your child has been waiting long enough, I would love to help you. You can find me at dyslexiaunpuzzled.co.nz or send me a message directly. I answer every single message personally, and I love to hear what your thoughts are. If this video resonated with you, please like it and share it, because there is a parent out there who needs to hear this today and they don't know where to look. You could help them. I'll see you in the next video.